They thought humiliating her in front of the whole school would break her spirit, but instead, she stood up in a way no one saw coming, turning the entire crowd from silent witnesses into roaring supporters. If you think you know how this ends, you're wrong. Stick with this story to the very last word, and if it stirs something in your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more tales that prove the human spirit can rise above anything. 19-year-old Alina Khan had walked through those iron gates of Franklin Ridge College every day with her head down, clutching her books like a shield, because she knew the predators who lurked in the hallways, not with claws and fangs, but with mocking laughs, cruel whispers, and eyes that hunted weakness, her weakness. She was the transfer student, the outsider, from a small town, the girl who wore simple clothes stitched by her mother instead of brand-name outfits, the girl who didn't have the money for the latest phone, the girl who avoided parties, gossip, and every toxic little ritual the popular crowd thrived on. The worst among them were three: Madison, the queen bee with a venom-coated smile; Amber, her shadow who laughed louder than anyone; and Kenzie, whose silence was scarier than their words because she carried out the ideas Madison was too clever to get caught doing herself. For weeks they had thrown jabs, pulling Alina's chair back just as she sat down, accidentally, spilling soda on her homework, whispering insults when she walked past, but nothing could prepare her for the moment that would turn her life upside down. It was a Tuesday morning assembly in the gym, the kind of mind-numbing gathering where the principal droned about values, while students texted under their desks. Alina was standing off to the side, hugging her cardigan around herself, when she heard her name in Madison's voice, sharp, sugary, and dangerous. "Hey, country girl, come here." The crowd's murmur grew quieter as eyes shifted toward her. She froze, pulse pounding in her ears, but before she could decide whether to walk away or pretend she didn't hear, Amber and Kenzie flanked her like wolves closing in. "Nice shirt," Amber sneered, fingering the collar of Alina's pale blue blouse, the one her mother had sewn last winter. "Is it vintage, or just poor?" The laughter around them was like fire licking at her skin. Alina muttered, "Leave me alone," but Madison's grin widened like a cat about to pounce. "Oh, don't be shy, we just want to see what you're hiding under this." And before Alina could react, there was a swift, sickening rip. Kenzie's hands had grabbed the back seam of her blouse and yanked with brutal force, tearing it from the collar halfway down her back, the fabric splitting with a sound that seemed to echo in the gym. Gasps erupted, laughter, phone cameras. The cool air hit her skin, and humiliation flushed her face so hot she thought she might faint. She clutched the torn edges together, eyes darting for an escape, the roar of the crowd deafening, but in that chaos, something happened inside her. It wasn't the kind of numbness that made you curl up and disappear, it was something sharper, hotter, a switch flipping. Slowly, she straightened her back, dropped her trembling hands, and let the torn blouse hang open just enough to reveal the plain white tank top underneath. The laughter faltered. She stepped forward, her voice cutting through the noise with a clarity none of them expected. "Is this what strength looks like to you? 3 against 1, ripping clothes off someone because you're too scared to face your own reflection?" The gym went silent except for the echo of her words. Madison's smirk wavered. "Ah, playing the victim card now." She tried to scoff, but Alina kept walking toward her, every step slow and deliberate. "Victim," Alina said, her tone almost calm now. "No, not anymore. See, you can tear my shirt, but you can't touch who I am. And I think everyone here just saw the truth. You don't hurt me because I'm weak. You hurt me because I remind you of everything you're afraid to be." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Someone lowered their phone. Then another. A guy from the basketball team muttered, "She's right." Madison's cheeks flushed, but before she could retort, the principal's voice boomed, "In my office. Now." But he wasn't looking at Alina, he was pointing at Madison, Amber, and Kenzie. The three froze, shock replacing arrogance. Alina could have left it there, could have let authority do its work, but something in her wanted to end it on her terms. "Wait," she said to the principal. The crowd held its breath. "They'll get detention, maybe suspension, but they'll just find someone else to tear down next time. If they want to make it right, they can start by owning what they did, in front of everyone." Madison's jaw clenched, but the principal crossed his arms and said, "You heard her." For a long moment, no one moved, until Amber broke first. "We were just joking," she mumbled. "No," Alina cut in, "you weren't. Say it." And then, in a voice so low it was almost swallowed by the air, Amber muttered, "I'm sorry." Kenzie followed, eyes on the floor. Madison was last, her pride battling her fear. "I'm sorry," she said finally, her voice flat, but the crowd's reaction, half disapproval, half relief, was enough to strip away the last of her power. Alina turned to leave, the torn blouse hanging loose like a battle flag, and as she walked toward the exit, something unbelievable happened. The students started clapping. It wasn't pity, it was respect, the kind that comes when someone shows you there's another way to be strong. By the end of the day, the video of her speech had gone viral, not as a meme but as a rallying cry against bullying, shared with captions like, "Strength isn't about fists," and, "This girl is fearless." But the story didn't end there. 2 weeks later, Alina was invited to speak at a neighboring school's anti-bullying event, and Madison, Amber, and Kenzie. They showed up in the audience, sitting in the back, looking like people who weren't sure who they were without their cruelty. And maybe, just maybe, that was the beginning of their change. Because sometimes, the most shocking reaction to being broken isn't revenge, it's standing so tall that everyone else has to rise just to see your face.